But hello, you lovelies. Let's talk about The Acolyte, Episode 7. If you're new to this page, I cover movies, I cover comic books, I give movie news and reviews, as well as comic book news and reviews. But with Star Wars, I am trying to do a little bit more TV, and I am admittedly a very casual Star Wars fan. So I've been covering this show from the jump, giving more of a casual fan perspective as someone that really just enjoys the movies, doesn't really get into the deeper lore, because I do so much deep lore with comic books. It's been really nice to just watch this as a more casual goer with this show. So please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Let's get right into episode 7. I think this should have been a movie. I think this is a really interesting example of what happens when you can see the potential in something and then see in real time it really not working for you. I have said each and every episode, everyone this show works for, I am elated. I also really enjoyed episodes 5 and 6. What's really interesting to me is I think episode 3, when I wasn't really vibing with this show, had been my favorite. But it took episodes 5 and 6 for me to be really invested in characters beyond just the aesthetic of the show. I think episode 3 and all the witchcraft and all those elements were the most interesting thing the show had brought me yet, because I really wasn't invested in the characters in episode 1 and 2. But then once I was actually committed to what Qimir's journey was, once I was more committed to who Soul was, once I was actually invested in Osha, ironically not May, even though it's the same actors playing two roles, it was a different thing for me. And now that we've gotten episode 7, I think this is kind of the culmination of, oh, I think it just doesn't work for me as the medium of TV. I think that this show, I don't like binge models, and I don't think this would have benefited from the binge model that much. I think this would be a really good 2-hour movie, and I would have told it chronologically. And that's really what I think this episode 7 taught me is I loved episode 3 because it finally got me invested in Osha and May because of the world and the witches and Jodie Turner-Smith's incredible performance. Suddenly I was like, okay, I'm at least interested. Because episode 1 and 2, I gave a pretty negative review of because I didn't really care about anyone supporting or lead except Soul. And I didn't want to keep watching because I don't like those shows where it's like, good's good in season 2, or just wait till episode 5. If it doesn't hook me, I'm not that kind of viewer. And episode 1 and 2 were definitely, if it wasn't Star Wars, I wouldn't have kept going. And by the time we got to 4, I was really just kind of, well, I like having the conversation online, I like talking to you guys. But then episode 5 really changed things for me. The choreography was great. I was more invested in more characters. And then, of course, by the time we got to episode 6, I absolutely am invested in what Manny Jacinto's brought. I'm way more invested in Qimir as a character than anyone else here because he's got a philosophy to him. I really liked that Star Wars, for me, is about sneaking in morals and ethics and questions for you, the viewer, to posit, what would I do in this situation? How do I see this viewpoint? War is horrible. War is never good. So when you watch something with war in the title, it's what side do I stand on? Who do I believe in? So Qimir was the first character. Again, Soul always had me, but the further into the show we get, the more I really like Soul's performance, Soul as an actor, but the less I'm invested in his journey, and the more I was like, Qimir's my guy. Now we're at episode 7, and this is why I think it should have been a in chronological order pilot, because it doesn't work to have this stakes kind of weighing on you Jedi concept if we know who lives and who doesn't. I don't really care that we've gotten this far and we're just getting these Carrie-Anne Moss moments. I love Carrie-Anne Moss, the actress. That's why I was excited to watch this show. She's the reason I wanted to cover this show. But we know what happens to her later, so we know she makes it through this. And that's an even bigger example with the Wookie Jedi. We know the Wookie Jedi makes it because we see an off-camera death later on. We also know young face, old beard makes it because we see the ramifications of that. And I have been waiting for something to make me go, oh, that's the mystery, or oh, that's why I've been caring about these characters. And this episode, I think, was supposed to do that. For me, it didn't. For me, I now know what the dude from Game of Thrones with the baby face went through. And again, why did they not just cast 2 different actors? Or cast, I mean, I hate when they cast old and then deep fake young to make them work, but like maybe get 2 people that look alike. It's so didn't work having them older. And I think Soul's a great example of, like, just cast someone and then make them look a little younger. Like, it works. Like, Soul is so good here. That's another conversation. But I don't care enough about these Jedi that they keep wanting me to care about. I didn't get enough time with Carrie-Anne Moss before she died to care, but maybe if they'd had this episode be the opening of the movie, or the opening pilot along with episode 3, maybe I would have cared more. Maybe I'd be invested in the journey, but this forced mystery element just doesn't land because there's no real payoff. I don't care that, May didn't really start the fire. She practically, she did start a fire. They just kind of added to the lie. And I'm sure there's going to be some nitpicks in the comments below about, like, how there was a bigger reveal than I realized, and I appreciate that, and I'm sure there was. But as a casual viewer, as someone who just wanted a story, I don't really care, and we've got one episode left, and I just want to know what Qimir's up to. I kind of care that Soul killed Jodie Turner-Smith, my favorite guest star, but not enough, not that it was a big enough impact. Jodie Turner-Smith was what made me go, okay, episode 3, I'm in for this show. That should have been a huge moment. But for some reason, it just felt fine. It just felt like we were moving the plot along, and that's not acceptable. If you have been invested in a character for 7 episodes, Soul, and a character was your biggest surprise, like, this performance is amazing, I'm so excited, I hope they come back, Jodie Turner-Smith. If one kills the other, I should be so devastated. I should be so distraught at that ramification throughout, echoing through the whole season. But instead, I just felt like, okay, that makes sense for the plot. That's not good. So, I don't know, between that and the speeder bike looking really cheap when they kept showing it, when the spaceship's landing always looking cheap, the light speed looking, I don't know, everything just feels kind of hollow visually and emotionally. I bring up the cheap visuals because it adds to the hollow feeling. And if I didn't know the budget, which is insane, I think it's like 180 to 190 million, then it would feel hollow because I would have wished they could have either shot it differently or not shown it. Like, that'd be the thing. If this was a $50 million show across, 8 episodes, I'd say, like, don't show that stuff. But since they showed it, and it felt hollow, and I know the budget, it really just makes me go, like, where'd it go and why? That said, some of the positives, I do think this episode is the first time I felt like the Jedi robes felt ceremonial. I did like that there was a presence to the Jedi, now that we've seen them opposite other people. I did like that the witches feel that we know them just enough that there's an idea of mysticism, and the Jedi feeling like the witches are strong. I feel like the strength of the coven. But again, we don't really have any investment in anybody. I really just want to get back to Qimir. I think it's really resting on Manny Jacinto's performance. I really think as a penultimate episode, the mystery's kind of been answered, but I don't know how much I care. We know that May and Osha aren't twins, they're one entity. And we don't really have maybe the definitive answer. I'm sure there's a witchcraft element, or maybe there's going to be some force elements, like something's going to come to be. So I guess that is the continued slight mystery to pay off. Maybe I missed something, maybe they explained, and maybe I'm just dumb. But to me, that's the last thing to explain in episode 8. We get to find out whether or not, Osha goes to the dark side. That moment was incredible in the last episode. I loved that. I think if this had been chronological, and it started with the story that happened in 3, then the story that happens in this episode 7, and then we have the May and Osha grow up and we go on that journey with them, we would have been more invested in the happenings of babyface old beard and, the scars. We would have been more invested in the Wookie when we see, not him dying, but off-screen death. We would have been more invested in Carrie-Anne Moss dying. We would be more, bereft alongside Soul. We would care more about Soul's relationship with Qimir. It just would have worked so much better as a movie. I honestly think this, as a 2-hour, 10-minute movie, is my jam. So I'm a little bummed that it's coming across this way, and I'm sorry I don't like it more. Again, to anyone that likes this, I'm so happy for you. I want to like it more. I really dug 5 and 6, and I really think the solution is a Topher Grace-esque supercut, putting this all in chronological order and making it a movie. I think there's fat to be trimmed, and I really wanted the payoff to feel like more. So those are my just general thoughts. I do think it's great that Star Wars has a show. I just wish it was more my thing. I do think it's great that people that are discovering, like me, the Old Republic, the High Republic, the the witches elements of Star Wars have something. I think it's really cool. I think it's novel. I think I'm excited about Star Wars in general. But I wish there was an actual, thing to point to say, like, this is why this is great. And other than Qimir and Soul, I don't really feel that yet. I do really love Amanda's performance as Osha in the, leading to the dark side elements. I'm really excited to see what happens next week. I hate being this negative about this episode. There are things I'm looking forward to, but I think the culmination of the show just won't have been for me. And I was really waiting for the episode where the payoff happens, and I feel like most of the payoff happened here. Didn't really vibe with it. Oh, another positive. The fighting was cool, man. To see a Wookie wielding a green lightsaber, to see that actual choreography with like a Wookiee's giant fighting these human size, like the choreography was excellent, the wire work was excellent, the lightsaber use was excellent, the lighting on that is so hard. Like the lighting to light a lightsaber fight and look that good with wire work, with that choreography, masterclass in that. So I really want to say that throughout this show, when they've let the lightsaber fights be awesome, the choreo's been incredible. So this episode was a definite testament to that. Some of the best lightsaber stuff since the prequels, and I really loved the way they had the Wookiee here. That was delightful. So again, I wish that was the beginning of the arc. I wish that was in chronological order. I wish I was more invested in him and the Jedi throughout. We'll see how it lands in episode 8. We'll see how this show wraps out. Those are my thoughts. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you agree, if you disagree. Please be respectful. We've done so well so far. You guys have been pretty amazing overall. Like 95% of the comments have been great, and it's a conversation. I want to like this. I want to understand. I want you, dear viewer, to like it as well. But if it's not your thing, like it's not my thing, let's have a respectful, casual conversation in the comments below. Please leave a like if you like this video, and please subscribe. We are approaching 27K, and I'm going to try to hit 30K by Deadpool Day. Lots of Deadpool coverage coming out. My This Week in Comics drops tomorrow. On Thursday, a top 5 movies to watch of Ryan Reynolds before Deadpool and Wolverine, and then on Friday, Wolverine comics to read before Deadpool and Wolverine is the goal schedule. Don't know if we're going to hit those goals, but those are the goals. And then all leading up to a bevy of Deadpool reviews, Easter eggs, all the stuff that I love to do with comic book movies we're going to be doing right here on this page. So please do subscribe as we approach Deadpool. Very excited about it. It looks like I will be seeing it early enough to get a review up before Comic-Con. So that is awesome. I'm so excited. All right, much love. Thank you for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope that you enjoyed this one more than me, and I'll find out in the comments. All right, bye guys.